Good morning, Coasty fam. Welcome to Sunday mornings. It is awesome to have you with us. Welcome to Rhema Central Coast. I'm Lindy. I'm your Sunday morning host here. What a delight, as usual, to spend some time with you guys. I hope your week has been okay and that your next week is looking even more fantastic. Guys, we are so close to the end of the financial year. Today is the 28th of June. If that does not send some alarm bells out there, I'll just emphasize that again, the alarm bells are going off. So if you do need to kind of wind things up financially, guess what? You've got a couple of days really to jump on that. And I know some people go, oh, I don't know how I feel about the end of the financial year. And others think, woohoo, finally we can kind of close things off. But certainly there are some avenues you might want to consider in terms of how to do that, to close things off well. Obviously, we are so thankful for the support you guys have given us in the last few weeks, really. Really, years, all of it, months, years, but particular in the last few weeks. And it is just a gentle reminder that we only have a couple of days, guys, until the financial year does come to close. If you are interested in helping us to keep things alive in the Central Coast community, to make sure that people have the opportunity to hear the hope and the joy and the peace and the kindness that God brings to all of us, obviously, but He's available all the time. And the fact that we have radio, which also is available all the time, is massive. We obviously, it's a gift. It is a gift for us to be able to share with the community who God is, how much hope He offers, and the fact that He can show us through Jesus Christ Himself that we have the opportunity to honestly just start again, to have a friendship, a relationship with Him, and to start life again in just a totally different mindset where we've got this freedom. There is just so much hope, and radio certainly plays a part in that. So if you are still thinking about what you can or need to contribute, or if it's going to work out, it might actually work out to be a great thing for all of us. It might be something as you're getting closer to the end of the financial year that you need to tap into and kind of go, okay, how do I make it better for myself as well as for Rhema Central Coast and the community that surrounds the coastal region. Now, look, I have to be honest. I was actually in Sydney a few weeks ago. I was down. My parents are living in Western Sydney. I was driving through the back of, it's kind of like the back of St Mary's, almost towards Mount Druitt, and I flicked on I was just bored. My car doesn't have anything too fancy in it, so I was just going through different radio stations, and of course I hear Rhema Central Coast from St Mary's. So that's not around here. If you are, familiar with areas towards Sydney and Western Sydney, I'm talking the range is pretty big, guys. We don't know who is out there listening. We don't know who happens to be sort of tapping into what happens each day. And I also know that we now living in the Hunter, we can get pretty much, there's only about 15 minutes worth of my travel between the coast and here to home, that I can't access what happens on Rhema Central Coast. So it's a big, broad area that we're covering, and your support in reaching those homes, those families, those lives, it's huge. So thank you, and well and truly take that into consideration because it does spread pretty far. Now, guys, we have been covering the last few weeks. Well, really, actually, over the last quite a few weeks. Actually, it's been close to 10, I think. This might be about it because we. Theoretically, we're covering a sort of idea of 70 days around the globe. And guess what we're doing today? Today we are headed home. We are going back to Australia. We are talking Australia and how awesome this nation is. There really is no place like home, is there? There's just, even when I think I was kind of preparing myself for it to be a bit like, oh yeah, we just kind of learn about, different countries, what happens and, things are going on for them. But I hadn't actually considered just how much, me, as I have been looking at different nations and what's going on for them, and then coming back to look at our own nation and really taking it on and going, oh my goodness, I don't have to jump on a plane to go to these places to then come home and go, I appreciate my nation. Certainly there's some beautiful nations out there. There's some great ways of doing things that aren't like ours. There's, they've got their own ways of doing things. Culturally, there are some amazing things that we can be exposed to by traveling and seeing different regions and how they do stuff. But also, there is just something about the Australian way. We're going to cover that this morning. We're going to say thank you to God for placing us in this place, in this season, in this time, and in this gorgeous, gorgeous nation, because there is so much to be thankful for, guys. I hope you can stick with me this morning as we examine, explore, and really think about this awesome place we get to call home. So stick with me. We'll see you soon. And welcome back, guys. That was Consumed by Fire, celebrating the idea that we can walk with Jesus. How good is that? It's kind of one of those things that we can and probably take advantage of. I think we don't necessarily take time to say thank you to God for the gift of Jesus, obviously, but just the knowledge that we can walk all things through life with Jesus. It is just so reassuring, is it not? I honestly don't know how people do life without faith. I don't know how they do life without knowing God. And I'm so thankful, so thankful that I was able to get to know God, to know Jesus, to know the Holy Spirit from a time of being young. And how awesome, if I can say, how awesome is it that we live in a country that allows us the freedom to get to know, to hear, to experience faiths of all varieties, because we have freedom here. But more than that, the true faith, the faith that is based on Jesus, on the hope that Jesus brings. How awesome is that? I'm sitting here and there's a part of me that's just celebrating that we are so blessed to live in this nation. We have freedoms to be able to explore what we to the core believe. And yes, there have been times, the flip side of that can be that the messages can become a bit, blurry from time to time. You can start to think, well, hang on, I believe this and you believe that, so what's the difference? And I can honestly say there have been plenty of times I have come across those feelings or questions in my own mind. Certainly working in a counselling sort of setting, and particularly in a highly multicultural, highly diverse community in terms of religious sort of affiliations, I have had those moments where I've had to think, why do I believe what I believe? What makes me different and what makes my faith different to yours? So yes, it can get confusing, but the beauty of it, knowing that we have the freedom to ask the questions that we want to ask, to seek the truth, it's a gift in a lot of ways. I know it's really what we should all be entitled to, but by comparison to a lot of other nations out there, we are so blessed. And we can be thankful for that. We can be thankful that we have a rich heritage that has not only supported and prioritized the Christian values, Christian ethos, Christian perspective, and ultimately the Christian faith. Our history tells us that we, though we are coming up against, and we have come up against some adversities to that, some challenges to that, and if, we have to play carefully, we have to play really smart, that we're blessed. We are so blessed. Let me start today by talking about the truth that yes, we live in this gorgeous place called Australia. We have an obligation, guys, to be praying for our own home, to keep it in the forefront of our thoughts, to leave it before God constantly. From all levels of government, we know we need to be praying for the nation that we sit in. And I had the honour of actually going into, it was a bit of a last minute thing, but I ended up doing a prayer for our council meeting recently, before they started their meeting. And I wasn't really sure what I was and what, was allowed to do, what I wasn't allowed to do. It was an honour to be able to stand there and go, these guys in our community, the community that I live in, they're here trying to do the best thing for our region. And you guys, you might find that in your region, there are specific things that you can be praying for, upper, northern end of the coast, southern end of the coast. There's so many different things that are happening and playing out. I have great respect for Wyong City Council, because they helped us so much with our not-for-profit that Mike and I, my husband and I, were working with when we were living on the coast. They were just honestly fantastic. But they need your prayers, guys. They need your support. And it doesn't matter what level that happens to be. If it happens to be at a meeting, perfect. You are being witness, you're a witness to those in council to say that, hey, we've got your back. But if you happen to be someone who needs to be praying behind the scenes, if it's not okay, if it's not permitted that you are seen as, prayerfully keeping those in leadership roles in your community, as an important part of your life, then you can always pray behind the scenes. You can always be keeping those thoughts, those prayers towards them. And that's no different. It can be on a state level, it can be on a federal level. In fact, I think we are urged to do so. I think we are urged to lay our burdens, our concerns before God himself and say, in this nation, God, we value you. We value what you are doing here. We value the freedoms that you have allowed us, that you have equipped us with, and we want to ask you to protect those freedoms, to protect the ability to think for ourselves. We are the lucky country, if you like. We are the blessed nation, and we have to be mindful that part of that means that we need to pray for continued protection on that. My challenge, this little section here, is just to basically throw at you guys the need to be praying for all of those who are in power. Some of them you may love, some of them you may think, oh, I could well and truly be happy to see you take on a different path. That's a reality. We have different people in different situations that we think, yeah, you're a good fit or you're not such a great fit. Doesn't matter. God isn't in all of it. He is above and beyond the challenges that we see. He has a way of doing what he needs to do in a region, in a state, in a nation, and we have an obligation as a Christian society to be praying for our nation. I urge you, pray for our own beautiful country this week, and let's see God keep moving. Yeah, exciting stuff. Alrighty, guys, that was Wake Up Sleeper by Austin French. Good morning and wakey indeed. Get up, you big sleepy head. It is time to get moving. I know it's Sunday and you should be just able to take it easy. That's what everyone tells you. But guess what? God has given you a day to celebrate. Don't waste it. Get up, make the most of it. Enjoy the opportunity, because it is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to celebrate so much. And today we are celebrating how awesome this beautiful nation of ours is. We have got all sorts of land, and we've got lots of water, and it's just the different sort of things that we can see that God has naturally given us. The biomes, if you want to use a technical name, the resources that are available from a natural perspective. We have been blessed. I will never stop smiling at the idea and the knowledge that we have so much here in Australia. It's just phenomenal. I have recently started working within education, so I'll just put it, that's kind of a general sort of way of summing it up. And one of the things I have actually loved is going from classroom to classroom to classroom. It's kind of weird because last year we were talking a lot about the different, my idea at that point was to go and chat to different teachers who study different parts of they look at different aspects or subjects that they teach. And one of the things that I'm loving about my role at the moment is that I do get to go from classroom to classroom to classroom to see what's being taught, and I'm taking in probably more than the kids, because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all right, yeah, I hadn't thought about that, or didn't know that worked like that. I have been learning just as much as them. It's a bit of a weird thing, but it's actually a really awesome experience, because some of the stuff that we cover in terms of the Australian content, I sit there and think, we're just so blessed. We have got so much here. I urge you, if you have got children who are school-aged, ask them about what they're learning. Go through some of their material, see what sort of stuff is, being taught, because obviously there might, there's aspects that you might be thinking, not sure if I agree with that or if that's actually right. Every school is going to be different. Certainly the curriculum and the syllabus, they sort of give a guideline of what you will be seeing your kids be exposed to all that sort of stuff. But definitely there can be different ways that they're presented. But thankfully for where I am at the moment, I'm sitting there going, I'm just soaking this up. This is kind of cool to listen to this stuff and process it. But my point is, guys, that going back and actually listening to some of the things that make Australia unique, it is truly humbling, and it leaves you with this sense of awe. And on so many different levels, I sit there and I think, I'm so thankful that we live in a nation where our children are, set up to be safe. And they are able to come to schools or attend a school where you know that those that are there will do everything in their power to make sure your child is safe. They want to nurture the children. They want to nurture the education, the educator or the education aspect of their life. They want to see them thrive. And they are on your child's team. They are there cheering them on. Now, I know that there can be other parts of society, whether it's here or across the globe, I'm talking more across the globe, where it may be more about a power or position to be in, a role like a teacher. There are societies in the world where the teacher or the person in, ministry sort of leadership, anything like that, where there is somebody, a doctor, that sort of thing, the label can get their sort of attention, and that's where things can at times go pear-shaped. But we don't live in a nation that allows that. We don't. I think, if anything, we have the tall poppy syndrome, and that can be a really bad thing. But I think it can also be a very humbling thing, because we are very much of the mindset of we're witnessing that our children get to go to school, and we have staff members that lift them up, that support them, that are on their team and want to see them truly thrive in life. And that's a gift. That really is a gift. We have, if we're looking at, in terms of the different sections of our societies, we have medicine available to us, and we have the freedom to choose, traditional sort of medicines. Maybe we might go a little bit different and look at things from, we might look scientific sort of stuff. We might look natural. We might look at sort of therapies or modalities that help with our mental health that are different. We have a very open society in that way. We are open to seeing options, and I think that's great. We are... I don't even know where to start, guys, because really it's just a matter of just being thankful for how our systems operate. We have got scientists who are supported to find out more information. We have got people out there who are doing good work, who are trying to find the best ways to do things. Our legal system. I know that people can get hurt from things that happen from a legal perspective, but you have got people behind the legal system who want to see a fair and just society. And it's a gift. Now, I've sat, thankfully, it was a beautiful experience. I sat as my daughter was sworn in as a legal professional a few years ago. I went down to the High Court in Sydney. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It all becomes, I've got no idea what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm saying. And I saw her get sworn in, and I sat there and I watched as those who conducted this ceremony and those who were sworn into a similar sort of capacity as my daughter, they genuinely care about doing things fairly and remembering that people are people and lives get messy. We have a nation that wants to nurture and support and genuinely, to the core, doesn't mean we always do it right, want to see communities thrive, people thrive, families thrive. We live in a nation that is about supporting each other, and that's amazing. We want to empower and not disempower. We want to get behind the little guy. There is so much support, I think, in recent weeks we've seen so much support for ensuring our small businesses are given a go. And again, we don't always see that things are put in place to celebrate or support one way or another, but the sort of cultural context of Aussie life is we get behind the little guy, we support each other, and we cheer each other on as much as we possibly can. I urge you this week, actually, that this is a challenge for you in a practical sense. Look around. Who are the little guys in your life, and how can you support them? Because that is us being Aussies. That's what we do. I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I could go on and on about this. But my point is, if you look at society, you look at the structure, you look at the way we do things, we are so blessed, and we have historically people who have put things in place for us to celebrate and to live in a way that allows freedoms to still, take. It's such an important part of our everyday. We have to protect it. It's, again, as I said previously, we have to pray for those things, but it is a gift. Anyway, I'm going to kind of zip up my mouth and stop talking for just a few minutes, and I'll see you guys back here before too long. See you soon, guys. And welcome back, guys. That was No Fear by John Reddick. Good morning and welcome to Rhema Central Coast. You are joining us here on a Sunday morning. In case you're a little bit like, what day are we up to? Yeah, it's Sunday, so it is possibly a day that you might be having to work if you're somebody who works in retail or hospitality or something similar. But perhaps you are somebody who is rolling into Sunday with a bit more of a relaxed sort of mindset. I'm hoping for your sake, regardless whether, if you happen to be someone who's working or not, I hope and pray you do get a chance just to kind of call time out for a bit today and have a rest, have a mind rest, have a brain break, just kind of call time out, take on, look around, see what's around you, take it in, notice the sounds, the natural sounds. Maybe you just need to listen to the ocean, doing what the ocean does. Maybe you need to listen to the birds, who knows. But I do hope and pray you get some opportunities to just stop and just take in nature. It's just, that's a gift in itself. And guys, we live in a nation who we have got some pretty fantastic, we've got some pretty fantastic gifts in terms of our natural resources, in terms of flora and fauna. I'm going to give you guys a bit of, sort of random fun facts, if you like, or things that we might need to be reminded about. If you're an Aussie, you probably would have been raised in a school environment where you covered a lot of or some of this stuff. But we forget just what is around us. In terms of flora and fauna, when I did a little bit of a Google search in terms of interesting facts about Australia, I will tell you straight up, flora and fauna we've got here, there's no reverse gear. So neither kangaroos nor emus can walk backwards. And that obviously is in regards to, if we look at our 50-cent coins, it's a beautiful reminder that the Australian coat of arms is particularly, where we can look at that too. We can see that on our 50-cent coins where we look and go, we are not about going backwards, we're about walking forwards. Pretty cool little thing we've got there. Another aspect of extraordinary mammals is what has been noted here on Google search, the Google search I've put in. It says here, Australia is home to the echidna and the platypus, the only two mammals in the world that lay eggs. When a platypus specimen was first sent to England, scientists thought it was a prank involving a duckbill stitched onto a rat. Interesting, I've never heard that. If we look at our seagrass, ancient seagrass, hidden off the coast of Western Australia, so that's near Shark Bay, a sprawling patch of seagrass spans more than 180 kilometres. It's estimated to be around 4,500 years old, and if you're looking at that, it makes it the oldest and honestly largest living organism on Earth. I don't know how they worked that out, but that's amazing. That again has just come from my Google search here. Let me read to you what I also have here in front of me in terms of just a general sort of, fact-finding thing. It says Australia is a land of extremes. Very true. Boasting the world's largest living organism. As I said, the grass, what do they call it? The seagrass. It says the tallest animal-made structures, termite mounds. Now, they're crazy big. And a famous and true historical event from 1932 known as the Great Emu War. Don't know anything about that, so I might have to look into that, or you and I can both do some research into that. But yeah, that's just, as I said, just doing a quick little pop-up of what makes us pretty unique and pretty special over here from a natural sort of perspective. There's some things there. What about our drives? When we go for a big drive on the biggest road let's look at that. It's the longest straight road. The Air Highway, which connects South Australia to Western Australia. Clearly I haven't been there. Features the longest straight stretch of road in the world. Now, this actually goes for 146.6 kilometres without a single bend. Oh my goodness, I think I'd be falling asleep at that. That's dangerous. Anyway, that was just my side thought. That was my first thought. Maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be saying. Maybe I'm supposed to be praising this. But for me, I'm sitting there thinking, whoa, that's a long time to be just driving straight. I think I would be getting quite drifty. Yeah, I might just stay in New South Wales for a bit longer. Extreme fence. Now, these are all new things to me as well. I did a little bit of research throughout the week. I looked over these things briefly, but didn't look into it a whole lot. It says here on this Google search, Australia features the world's longest fence. Originally known as the Dingo Fence, it stretches over 5,600 kilometres and it goes across 3 states. There you go. How cool is that? I will kind of wind things off. No, we'll just kind of call it there. But let me just say, guys, in this beautiful nation of ours, we have deserts. We have land that it meets with the oceans. We live, breathe, we function, we work, we do life around the coast, even if I'm specifically talking here on the Central Coast. We are so close to just the ocean. It's beautiful. We get to take in our beaches. There are more statistics in regards to that I'll read to you guys in a little while, but our coast, that's how we do life. Our life is based on that. And then to think we can drive into parts of Australia that have this deep, red, beautiful dirt kind of, it's just mind-blowing. It's so vast and so completely different to what we have on our coastal sort of areas. We have snow in winter. We do have snow. We have mountains. We have valleys. We have gullies. We have, we've got farmland. We've got everything that you could ask for one land. God is good, and he has placed us in this particular land for this time. You might be a visitor, but you're here right now, and you're hearing this. And he has allowed most of us, I'm assuming most of us, to live here, to breathe here, to take in the freshness of the air that we breathe. We have been allowed to go into cities to build things that at one point would have been the ultimate dream. We go into our big cities and we see skyscrapers, which tells us there are plenty of people doing life in those places, in those regions. We go into more quiet rural towns and there's a country vibe that you won't get anywhere else. We are so blessed, guys. God is so good to us. Can I encourage you to say thank you to him today, because he is a good God and he has given us this beautiful nation called Australia. And we are to nurture it, to love it, to embrace it, and to enjoy the freedoms that God has given through it. The natural resources that he has provided. He is a good God. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to ask, guys, as we kind of hold things off, I am going to ask that you celebrate. You say, thank you, Jesus, for this awesome nation we get to live in. I'll see you soon. Oh, that was a good way to end my time with you this morning. Home by Chris Tomlin. My goodness, it is awesome. We are home. We are home in terms of our worldly home. We live in Australia, guys. How awesome is that? We have been doing about 70 days around the globe for the last few weeks. We've been covering different nations, minus Mother's Day. We sort of kind of called time out for a bit for that. But we have been talking about different nations each Sunday morning. And this week, we are talking about this gorgeous nation we get to call home. I am so thankful that God gets to, that God has given us this blessed and beautiful place to call home. We have so much to be thankful for. And yes, we can plead with God to be stirring, to be moving, to be fulfilling prophecies, if you like, that people have shared over Australia to call us the great Southland of the Holy Spirit. I still don't know, what that looks like or what that is supposed to look like. I don't know if, I don't know, but I do know that God is a God who is in all nations. I know that he is a God who has designed every nation with a particular purpose, a design with the land, the structures that take place in that land. And my goodness, guys, when we look at Australia and what we have been blessed with, we have got so much. We have got so much because we have it all. We have rain, we have droughts, we have We have moments of time where we have to plead for God to give us those drops of rain. We have moments of time where there is too much rain and we are saying, God, please hold off. We have moments where there is, bitterness from the heat or from the cold. We are feeling that sense of, ooh, I'm uncomfortable. And in those moments, we have moments where we can share, we can spend time with our Creator and say, yeah, it's feeling a bit too much at the moment, God. I know it's just the weather, but hey, I need your help in this. We have moments where we can see, and if you've witnessed the storms that hit the coast from a distance, you stand out in the ocean, not on the ocean, but at the sort of shoreline, and you watch the way that the lightning hits in what looks like the middle of nowhere because it's out in the ocean somewhere. And you take it in and you go, oh my goodness, God is in control of that. We get to, I know that other nations get to see that too, but because we live on the coast and because we get to experience coastal life so easily, there is just this sense of enormity that we get to be witness to. We get to see and experience just how majestic God is from that perspective. We get to see things that others who live inland probably don't get to see. Having said that, they get to see things like, storms that are just different to ours. It is a moment of awe when you take in just how awesome God's creation is and how awesome God's creation is in this land. We are home when we come home to Australia. I can't think of anything else that is more reassuring in this life than to say that we get to live in a nation that thankfully and prayerfully I pray that it is protected always. We have the freedoms to choose how we want to do life, how we should do life, what is important to us. We have those freedoms. Now, certainly I know that for me, my ideal situation and my prayer for every person in Australia is that they first and foremost get to know Christ. That is my prayer for this nation. Because my goodness, they will, if they don't ever know that, they miss out. And we want to see them moving from what is home here to the heavenly home. Obviously, that is the ultimate goal. But being given the gift to not be scared to ask questions, it's amazing. It's something to be thankful for. And God has allowed us, He's equipped us to live in a place that allows that. It's a gift, guys. Going back to what makes us unique, I want to say, just to wind things up, there's a few other little fun facts that I probably haven't looked into for a long time, if at all. And I'm going to throw those at you just kind of so you can smile as we close things off this morning. We have 10,000 beaches here in Australia. So if you are saying, I need to get to the beach today, there's a good chance you can get to at least one of those. 10,000 gives you a few options anyway. If you made it your mission to visit a new beach every single day in Australia, guess how many years it's going to take you to get there? 27 years. Did you hear me? 27 years to see them all. I think that's kind of mind-blowing, actually. In the deep soils of Gippsland, that's in Victoria, there's a giant earthworm. It's got here, it can grow to an unbelievable 3 meters. So that's, if you're talking feet for any Americans out there, that's 10 feet. That's a big worm. Crazy stuff. Camels for export. Now, this is one of these things that I didn't know until recently, a few years ago. But I didn't even realise that camels were really a thing here. So, clearly we get used to, at that point I was still a Sydney girl, so I was used to my tall buildings and how we do life in terms of sort of big city structure. I didn't know that we even had camels in Australia, but we've got here camels for export. Surprisingly, Australia is home to more wild camels than Egypt. In fact, the country, that's us, exports camels and even sand to countries in the Middle East. So it's us. It's here. What happens here? I think, I don't even know how we have these things around us and we don't even realise. Guys, that is a challenge, actually. That's a challenge. Get to know your nation. What things can you find out about us that you didn't know or that you've forgotten? Get to know us. Get to know our country. And more than anything, keep our nation in your prayers. from the aspect of leadership to the decisions that are made, to the land that we live in, to the way that we care about our communities, the way that we nurture each other. There is always room for prayer. And more than anything, prayer that God's existence is heard, is received, is embraced. Because that is a prayer that goes not only from this generation to the next, it goes to generation to, from generation to generation to generation. What those who have been been here before, times gone by, the prayers that they prayed allowed us and have allowed us, even in this particular morning, to be able to sit here and openly declare that God is a God of truth, of hope, of justice, of kindness, of opportunity. When I talked before about education, God has allowed us to live in a nation that has allowed us to have and experience knowledge, to understand, how things work, but also the knowledge of Him, the knowledge of the Bible, to be able to open the Bible publicly and say, this is important to me. This is important to our community, our nation. To be able to embrace all things that are of Him, to celebrate love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-discipline, all these things that just roll off my tongue week to week to week. They're real things, and they are to be treasured, to be protected, to be prayerfully considered by us. So I urge you guys, think about that this week. What do you love about Australia? What do you love about the fact that we get to call this home? I urge you to pray for us as a nation, and I urge you to pray for those who are making decisions for our nation. We are blessed, and I'm so thankful that we have a God who has given to us in abundance. I'm going to love you and leave you. I will see you next Sunday, guys. Have a super duper week. Say hi to a neighbour. That's the community spirit. That's the Aussie way. Celebrate what God has given you and the fact that He loves you, guys. He really does. I'm out of here. Have a great week. We're going to get stuck into more stuff in the next few weeks. That's kind of more like me. I've been missing, just kind of going, all right, God, where you at? What's happening? I'm ready to dig in and explore, and we'll do that in the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to it. See you back here next Sunday. Take it easy, guys.